All right, guys. Chapter 4.4 starts off with taking a look at the nucleus. This is probably one of the more important organelles of a eukaryotic cell. You can see here it says oval found near the center of the cell, contains and protects the DNA. So that's the main job of a nucleus. It does this by having this nuclear envelope here around the whole nucleus. This is like another cell within the cell. So this is like having its own membrane around the DNA. And we got to keep the DNA protected because, again, the DNA gives us the blueprint for all of your characteristics, all of your proteins, everything that's really important in the cell. If you damage that, then you're damaging the original blueprint of what makes you you, and we don't want that. So this has its own nucleus. This is the nuclear envelope. And the chromosomes, now, I want to stop a misconception. A lot of students think that whenever you see DNA within a cell, it's going to be in this X pattern. Very rarely are you going to see an X pattern for DNA in a cell. It's going to be more in this chromatin form where the DNA is nice and strung out. The reason being is because this X DNA when it's in this X form, it's really packed together nice and neatly. We don't want that when we're trying to read the DNA. It's like having a closed book. This X is like a closed book. If the book is closed, you're not going to be able to read the DNA. If the book is closed, you're not going to be able to read what's in the book. When you open up the book, that's when you can read what's in it. When you open up the chromosome here, you can read the DNA. So most of the time, you're going to see the DNA in nice, long, strung out forms, but that's just within the nucleus. Nucleolus, this is also one of the parts of the nucleus. This is one of the areas where RNA is going to be produced, specifically rRNA. We don't really talk a lot about the nucleolus here, but just know this is where rRNA is produced. Like we said in the last slide, around the nucleus is going to have this double membrane. This double membrane, again, protects the innermost part of the nucleus. There are places called nuclear pores. These are locations where RNA is going to come in and out of the nucleus. Remember, the DNA is going to stay within the nucleus. It doesn't leave. It's our blueprint. It's our most important copy. We make copies of the blueprint, or we make mRNA sequences, which are photocopies of the DNA that we find in the nucleus, and those leave through the nuclear pores. They go to ribosomes, which we're going to talk about next. But again, the mRNA leaves these nuclear pores. The combination of nuclear pores and the combination of the nuclear envelope regulates what goes in and out of the nucleus. Now, for ribosomes, I would honestly argue this is probably one of the more important organelles of a cell. You are going to find one of the key characteristics of all cells is that all cells will have ribosomes. Not all cells will have the nucleus. Again, those are only eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells don't have a nucleus, but all cells have ribosomes. The reason being is because ribosomes are going to be the place where proteins are produced. All cells use proteins. The majority of a cell is just purely protein. So they're really important. So ribosomes, we have to find ribosomes no matter what cell we're looking at. Made up of two smaller subunits. You can see here are the large and small subunits. Whenever you go to college, you're going to see a little bit more distinction between these subunits. They have different parts, and there are differences between prokaryotic and eukaryotic ribosomes. But just know that they're made of two parts. Polyribosome here, that's just a bunch of ribosomes found together on a single mRNA strand. These ribosomes are also found on the rough ER. That's what actually makes that's what makes the rough ER look rough. Again, these ribosomes are very important. We're going to see them later on when we talk about protein synthesis. But all you have to know is they assemble the amino acids to put in order. Those amino acids are going to form and fold to make a protein. The sequence of amino acids is based on the mRNA, which is a photocopy of the DNA. Okay, so these all, you can see now how important understanding macromolecules is. We got to know about mRNA, we got to know about DNA, we got to know about amino acids. But all you need to know about right now for ribosomes is that they make proteins.